We've got 5 new minis, and one of them's a hero. The Golden Giant is a tanky 3 elixir mini who specializes in not only tanking damage, but also stunning minis and healing. He's a close range mini, and his super actually stuns the enemy and himself for 2.5 seconds. And it takes as much energy to charge up his super as the Skeleton Guard super does. Now his headbutt deals 2 damage just like his regular attack, but since he has a lot of health, he usually deals with being stunned a lot better than whoever he hits it with. His first star ability is Golden Helmet, which heals him for 4 HP over 2 seconds while he's stunned after using his super. This ability is really great because it heals him almost the entire time he's stunned, and it heals him for more HP than most minis can deal damage in those 2 seconds. His second star ability is Infinite Helmet. This ability is kind of similar to the first, except that it applies to nearby allies after he dies. So any ally within 2 tiles of him when he's defeated gains a ton of healing very quickly, making him a great mini to put in front of your others so that you can tank for them and then heal them up. His third star ability is Golden Headbutt. This ability doubles the damage that he does and the stun duration of his super. So enemies will take 4 damage, and both he and the enemy will be stunned for 5 entire seconds. Now let's see how he does 1v1 against similar 3 elixir minis. Now the Golden Giant and the Giant Skeleton have the same fire rate, but the Golden Giant hits way harder and has a lot more health. The Golden Giant defeats the Giant Skeleton so quickly that even after he's hit by the Giant Skeleton's bomb, he still has plenty of health remaining. Next is against the Mini P.E.K.K.A, and the Golden Giant and the Mini P.E.K.K.A actually deal the same amount of damage, but the Mini P.E.K.K.A's rate of fire is faster than the Golden Giant's. However, the Golden Giant has so much more HP, and he's able to easily charge up his super and take out the Mini P.E.K.K.A with just one more punch. Now the Valkyrie's really close. It's actually neck and neck until the Golden Giant finally charges his super. He recovers faster than the Valkyrie after they're both stunned, and he's able to get 2 shots in while she can only get 1 in before she's defeated. The next mini coming to the game is the Witch, and the Witch is a long-ranged 4 elixir mini that summons 2 little skeleton soldiers for her super. She doesn't do a lot of damage, and she doesn't have a lot of health, but her range is infinite, and she only needs 4 energy to charge up her super. Her skeletons have 2 health and deal 1 damage with each attack, but there's no limit to the amount that can be on the battlefield, so she can become a big problem very fast. Her first star ability is Befallen, and this ability allows her to summon 3 skeletons every time she uses her super instead of just only 2. This is actually a really great ability against heroes or minis that can only hit 1 target at a time, but it's kind of useless against splash damage dealers, so keep that in mind. Her second star ability is Big Bone, and this gives all of her skeletons 2 extra health, bringing their total health from 2 up to 4. I guess Larry's been eating his calcium. Finally, we have her third star ability, which is Reinforce. Now this is a clash ability that allows her to instantly charge and use her super right at the very start of the match, which can give you a huge advantage. Now let's see how the Witch does against other long-range 4 elixir minis. The Witch has a much faster rate of fire than the Magic Archer, but she only deals half the damage with each of her attacks. She's able to summon her skeletons right before the Magic Archer's 3rd shot, but the Magic Archer's attacks pierce right through them and take her out, making him the victor. Now against the Electro Wizard, both of these minis deal exactly the same amount of damage at the same amount of time, and even charge up their supers at the same time. The Electro Wizard's super deals immediate damage, and instead of hitting 2 of her skeletons, he hits 1 skeleton and takes out the Witch as well. But her skeleton does go on to defeat the Electro Wizard, so technically this is like she lost the battle, but her team won the war. Next mini is the Swordsman, or the Swordfish Man. The Swordsman is a close-range 2 elixir mini who also uses his super ability that allows him to slash nearby enemies 5 times randomly. In other words, if he's surrounded by 5 enemies, he might hit each one of them once, he might hit one of them all 5 times, or any combination in between that. His first star ability is Mastery, and this allows him to fully recharge his super if he defeats an enemy with any of those 5 strikes of his super, and this obviously allows him to chain supers in a row if he's able to stay alive. His second star ability is Big Fish, and this ability stuns each mini that he hits with his super for 1.5 seconds. Now if an enemy gets hit by more than 1 strike, the stun time just gets refreshed. It doesn't stack, which means that the longest an enemy mini will be stunned by his super is 1.5 seconds. His third star ability is Wild Fish, and this increases the number of strikes from his super from 5 to 8, but you could say it comes with a catch. Yes, he will strike more times, but there's a chance that he will strike allies as well as enemies. So you want to make sure that he's not near anybody that you want him to hit, especially if you have Big Fish activated. Let's see how he does against other 2 elixir close range minis. First up, we've got the Barbarian, and the Barbarian gradually pulls ahead because of his rage. And the Swordsman does charge up his super, and it honestly looks like he might be able to take the Barbarian out with it, but that rage is stacked too high, and by the time he's able to actually use it, he gets defeated. So that's unfortunate for him. Next, we have the Knight and the Swordsman, is able to charge his super way faster than the knight does. Even after he does charge up his super, it's not fast enough and he's not able to activate it to protect him from those 5 strikes. Next, of course, we have the miner, and the miner clearly has a faster rate of fire in this matchup, but just as he's about to land the finishing blow, the swordsman uses his super and defeats the miner just in time. The last new mini, and possibly my favorite, is the Fisherman, who's actually a fisherman. The Fisherman's another 4 elixir mini that has an awesome clash ability. He casts his line wherever he's placed when the round starts so that he reels anyone in caught by the hook. He even pulls them all the way behind himself and stuns them for a moment when they hit the ground, and they also take 1 point of damage after being pulled in. Now, his first star ability is Heavy Hook, and this ability adds 3 more seconds to the stun duration of anyone that he catches with his hook. I'm pretty sure that this stun doesn't even last a second normally, so that's actually like a really huge increase. His second star ability is Extra Barbs, and this adds a tile to the top and the bottom of his hook so that it forms kind of like a plus sign shape. So not only do you have a better chance of catching an enemy, but the total number of enemies that you can pull goes up as well. His third star ability is Growth, and for each enemy that he snags with his hook, he gains a 40% increase to his attack speed. Now, since he can possibly hook 5 enemies with his second ability, then it's actually possible for him to increase his attack speed by 200%. That takes it from 0.4 hits per second all the way up to 1.2 hits per second, which is actually really crazy. Do you guys know the drill? 1v1s against the other 4 elixir minis that are kind of similar. Against the Mega Knight, the Fisherman takes the lead since he deals way more damage than the Mega Knight, but the Mega Knight makes up a lot of ground by using his super to stun the Fisherman, and he also has a lot of HP, but that stun isn't long enough and the Fisherman defeats the Mega Knight. Next, we have the Battle Healer, who traditionally wins almost every 1v1 situation that she has, and the Fisherman deals way more damage than the Battle Healer and gets her all the way down to where she can only take 1 more hit, but as usual with her, she activates her super before she dies, and that means that she actually takes the victory. Next is the P.E.K.K.A, and the P.E.K.K.A hits slow but deals a lot of damage. The Fisherman does get really close to taking the P.E.K.K.A out, but the P.E.K.K.A just has too much HP, so the Fisherman ends up taking a loss. Next, we have the Fisherman against the Prince, and the Fisherman actually has a huge advantage against the Prince because he interrupts the Prince's clash ability, which means that the Prince is left to rely on just his regular attack speed and damage. Since the Fisherman's stats are a lot better, he's able to defeat the Prince actually pretty easily. And now we have the time you've been waiting for, the newest hero coming to the game who's very strong, and that is the Wave Master. The Wave Master is a close range hero that jabs at his enemies with his trident, and for his super, he targets the furthest enemy away from him and rides a giant wave through to them. This also hits and stuns all enemies on his path, which is honestly really insane. At level 5, he gains an ability called Chaos Lover, which heals him for 1 HP for each mini that he hits while using his super. At level 10, he gains an ability called Wave Strike, and this ability gives his regular attacks a 20% chance to strike in an arc instead of a jab and stun every enemy hit by it. That's a 1 in 5 chance, which is really strong. And to show you how strong it is, we're going to put him at level 10 against all the other heroes at level 10, just to kind of give you an idea of how competitive he's going to be. First up, we got the Royal Champion, and with the help of her Lonely ability, the Royal Champion has a much faster attack speed than the Wave Master does. However, the Wave Master is able to stun her a lot since his super and main attacks are both able to stun her. The Royal Champion is able to catch up when she throws her shield, but she honestly just stays stunned for way too long and can't keep up with the Wave Master. The stun is very strong, but honestly, even without the stun, it would be a very close matchup. Next, we have the Shield Maiden, and the Shield Maiden obviously has way more HP than the Wave Master does, but the Wave Master can beat her in every other stat. Between constantly getting stunned when she has her super up and also getting hit when her super is down, the Shield Maiden hardly ever attacks the Wave Master at all, and while she is able to run out the clock, she ends up losing to the Wave Master in sudden death. Next is the Monk, and I'm not going to beat around the bush. The Monk pretty much beats every hero at level 10 when this is not any different, right? But it is interesting that if the Wave Master had stunned the Monk twice, he might have actually been able to super against the Monk before getting taken out. Next is the Archer Queen, and in this particular round, the Archer Queen got stunned so many times that she didn't even get close to using her super. The Wave Master even had full health after defeating her, which is just crazy. I did give her a second chance, and while she was able to use her super, she still didn't come close to taking out the Wave Master. Next is the Barbarian King, and the Wave Master uses a lot more supers than the Barbarian King does because of how often he's able to keep him stunned. But the Barbarian King does heal up quite a bit when he's able to get a super off, and it actually comes really close until sudden death. Even though the Wave Master does win this round, I definitely think the Barbarian King can win if the Wave Master doesn't hit so many stuns. Definitely keep this in mind. Next is the Countess, and the Countess's super probably makes an even bigger difference to the Barbarian King's because of how much he actually heals with it. I felt like the Wave Master got a lot of stuns off on the Countess, so I had them play the best 2 out of 3, and the Countess actually won the second round by quite a bit, and even though the Wave Master did end up winning the third round, it just goes to show that a decent amount of luck is involved with his level 10 ability, and it can actually change the direction of a match significantly depending on how often he gets those stuns. And there you guys have it. We got the 5 new minis coming to the game, one of them being a hero, obviously. And honestly, I'm really excited about this update. This is really cool, and I feel bad that I couldn't record it in my actual studio like I normally do, but I'm traveling. I'm actually visiting Helsinki, you know, Supercell's office. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with Brawl Stars or Clash Mini. But I really want to know what you guys think about these minis, and there are actually there's other content that I'm planning on covering, so make sure you guys subscribe, follow for Clash Mini sneak peeks, and also update information, and let me know what you think about this, okay? For now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Clash Mini.